Slide it on. Do a little rub.
Did you say
Throw it to the side, and boom, you're done.
Did you say new or nude color?
Nude. It's a nude color.
It's a nude color.
A nude.
So you have nude color lipstick.
Yeah.
That
Wild
sits
dress.
down in the dark recesses
Mind blown.
of your purse for 2 years that you don't even know that's in
Probably
there.
like 3.
And you wonder why.
Long-lasting liquid lipstick.
And you wonder why we don't even want to look in there.
You'd find a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
Like a lot of stuff.
you don't
A
even
bunch of
know.
free samples.
You don't even know what
Who
the
doesn't
hell's-
love free samples? I love them. They're great.
There's your
remember I
makeup
have
with
'em.
Stephanie segment. There we are. We're coming back on. What's that?
What's today?
What is today? Thursday.
Shut up.
If you gotta
I
ask.
thought it was Tuesday, though, all day. Today's Monday, though, right? It's Monday
Monday on the show that we're coming back after the weekend of that, the big Super Bowl weekend. Everybody, I hope party hard. You had a good time on a Super Bowl weekend. We'll recap a few little things that were going on up and down the line on that whole enchilada on that. But call in, tweet in, comment on anything that went on the Super Bowl, or how you had, or what you thought of it, what you thought of the game.
Or how much fun you had at Mountain Mike's yesterday.
Yes, Mountain Mike's was popping.
It was popping.
It was a full house. Everybody had a good time. Won a lot of prizes up and down the line. So it was a good time there. But yeah, tell us your good Super Bowl stories. And I got to give you a big attaboy. You said it was the Chiefs all year, and darn it and it wasn't looking good. I mean, they were down 20-10 at the half, and man, they came storming back on that. And
I was getting nervous about that.
no, it was 10-10 at the half. San Francisco came out in the third quarter, I should say, and scored 10 points right off, and it was looking like, looking kind of shaky on your Chiefs prediction. But the Chiefs came storming back after that, and man, just hammered the old that to get a touchdown right in the last 2 minutes, and then San Francisco threw an interception, and they returned it for a final score, I think, of 31-10 on the. And that was the old ball game. But the Chiefs, after 50 years, between victories back in the old Len Dawson, Hank Stram days, when they beat the Bud Grant Minnesota Vikings back in, 1970?
I believe so.
Of that. So, and Super Bowl IV, so it took them 50 more years to get back there, and they won it again. So they're 2 for 2 on the old enchilada on that, even though it was doing that. So I guess they're undefeated, I think. I think that's the only 2 Super Bowls the Chiefs have been in. So was a great time out, like you said, at Mountain Mike's. Everybody had a great time out there.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
On that.
That was a great turnout.
We had some pictures of that going on too. A
lot of fun games. Great people too. It was just a good vibe.
Yeah.
I was digging it.
That's it. That's what Super Bowl should be. It should be all about fun and having a great time. And just one day a year you kick it all loose on the whole deal. There's some of the pictures of that. There's the
ring toss. This lady was amazing. She volunteered to really wear that hat, and she wore it proud.
And you know what? Another thing, and I think you were the only one. There were 3 rings. One had 25, 50, and 100. You were the only one that got the green. You were the only one that hit 100 toss on the top.
I know, and I won nothing. I won a good time, though. That's all that matters.
And
thank you to Gil for co-hosting with us at your establishment.
Yeah, Gil, the owner of Mountain Mike's in Moreno Valley, Redlands, and Menifee. He's got 3 locations going on in that, so if you need some good pizza, beer, or a good time, or want to host an event or something, look up Mountain Mike's, because they'll do you a really good job on that, as they did on Super Bowl Sunday.
A lot of fun.
At the Moval location.
There's our ring toss lady.
Yes, there's the ring. Do we know her name?
You know what? I think at one point I probably heard it, but I'm horrible with names.
So am I.
We're going to go with that.
We're horrible with their
She said she was going to tune in. So if you are watching, tag us or let us know your name so I can get to your page so I can send you the photos because I have a lot of photos of you.
There you go.
And I want to know your name.
You don't want to know her name.
I said, and I want to know her name.
Oh, and you want to know her name.
It was a good time, though.
Yeah, it was. More on that, and we're going to queue it up, and I think I have it in the email on that. This is the one thing that struck me on the whole enchilada on that was there was a Super Bowl ad on there. Because, we do, and there is a lot of news and politics and things and events going on. I mean, we had the bus shooting that was up on the Grapevine where one person was shot, killed, 5 were injured. Some lunatic or something just starts firing away for some reason on that, and they were able to. Hearing conflicting reports, unconfirmed that some of the people subdued him, but the bus driver eventually got him to get off the bus, and CHP picked him up, and the bus drove up to the next off ramp and has done that. But that happened early this morning, going up the Grapevine, right at the top, right at the peak there. If you're going through there, most people I'm sure are pretty familiar with that on that. So that was another sad situation. We had a ID of a Moreno Valley in a Moreno Valley shooting. They ID'd the victim in that was from Temecula, and the shooter was from the suspect arrested was from Temecula. So we had another suspicious death. There was they just ID'd the one, I think it was Saturday morning or early like midnight or something Saturday morning, that got shot in front of a gas station over in Paris. So had a wild and woolly weekend all across the board going across there of the news and local stuff on that.
That's horrible.
Well, yeah, not the greatest. But pull up the Reason Foundation, the one on the ad on that I've got in the email, Jesse, so we can do that. Yeah, Michael Bloomberg's claim that about children killed in gun violence is off by 73%. So click on the deal, just code. I think it. Or blow it up. See, I don't know if you can blow that up. No, but you're seeing that those of you watching on our replay, 29. The ad in the Super Bowl is 2,900 children die from gun violence every year. Reason Foundation done the study on it. Found it was off by 73%. First thing they did is, I think the study he cited was everybody up to 19. Well, 18 and 19-year-olds are not kids. They are considered adults. That was like 50% of it. And then there was like another 25% of it that they were overinflating the claims, according to this Jacob Solomon piece in the Reason Foundation. And this is what drives me crazy, because what's your first impression if you're watching the Super Bowl or you're seeing this ad and you're thinking 2,900 children die every year from gun violence every year?
I'm going to believe that.
Yes.
Unfortunately, but
Michael
I would, because
Bloomberg,
people tend to believe things that they see.
Yes, mayor of New York, worth what, $40-50 billion, head guy of the Bloomberg, news and conglomerate media company.
But then at the same time, maybe they do, but where are the parents at when these kids have these guns? Would be another thing.
No, the other 25% that they were saying were suicide. Suicide are not gun violence.
Right.
That's what I say. So when you boil it down, 73% of that was a bull blank, statistic. And this is what this is the problem with everything, is we are not honest, and I pointed out the examples of that. Latest is the one from the school district where they're not accurate with their statistics. So how do you believe anyone when they're consistently across the board coming up with these bogus statistics that isn't anywhere close to what is the case, trying to push, because Bloomberg is one of these big nutcases and he instituted, I believe, when he was mayor of New York, and that's one of the big things. And now that he's running for president, he's one of these, we're going to take it, he's one of these big gun control freaks. Let's put it that way. He's going to deny that he wants to take away your guns, but ultimately that's what they want to do. They want to they don't want you to protect yourself. They want to be because you know what? That makes you a person of free will and much less harder to control or take over or put on the plantation, as Mason Weaver says. And that is what they want to do. That is the main number one reason why why the ones that are pushing the gun control initiatives or want to do this or restrict your right to keep and bear arms. And that is what, and they will stop at no technique or do no stone unturned. They don't care about the truth because all they are worried about is, like I've said, is this control thing. That's what their impetus is behind all this stuff. And it's really, really, really disheartening that people of Michael Bloomberg's stature, knowledge of stuff, resort to these tactics just to enrich themselves, whether it be financially or make themselves more powerful or stuff, because they're doing it on the backs of me and you.
Preach it, baby bro. Preach it. No, I mean, if you're going to say something and put it out there, at least make sure your facts are right or explain it. I mean, but like I said too, if I see that on the TV, I'm going to wonder where are the parents when these children get the guns. I mean, that's horrible for any child to get their hands on a gun and do some self-inflicting, whether it's intentional or not. I mean, that's awful. But where are the parents and why are these children getting these guns?
Well, kids do not necessarily the kids.
I know they don't know.
Well, what I mean,
but if you're going to have a gun, teach your kids what can happen.
But still, even kids are going to die in gun violence. Whatever. It could be adults killing kids. I mean, it happens. I mean, I'll give the example. The first.
Come on.
They do. I mean, the first day I was, I mean, one of my first time ever on live radio doing this stuff of that. I mean, a 9-year-old got shot in a liquor store in San Bernardino.
Right.
That. So I mean, and that is gun violence, and that has had nothing to do with the kid having a gun.
Right.
It was some,
I see
blank, was robbing the store or doing whatever. I mean, whatever the context was, and the kid just got caught in the crossfire or whatever was going on at that, and unfortunately was killed in that. So I mean, but that the time of stuff with that actually kids now. We have done that, and they do. And the latest one was the Saga shooting. The up at this high school, or was it high school? I think, or junior high, or whatever it was up there in Saugus. I mean, the kid, if somebody's out to perform evil, they're going to pull it off.
Right.
Like the guy that walked into the Texas church. And as we keep saying, your only defense in that situation, and even in the Saugus deal, it just happened that some off-duty cops were dropping off their kids at the Saugus school, and they jumped out. They heard the gunshots first ringing out. They jumped out and started securing the area and probably prevented, even more tragedy up there, just like in the Texas church. I mean, the guy only got two of them, but the third guy finally got him. But if there was nobody in that church, or the cops weren't over there at the Saugus, the off-duty cops dropping off their kids, these situations could have been much worse.
Right.
And in totality, are accidents going to happen? Are evil people going to get guns? Is that going to happen? Yes. But you being prepared and you being prepared to defend yourself not only from criminals but from a tyrannical government far outweighs anybody that's going to die in these in an accidental shooting or get caught in the crossfire of that. And not to belittle that or make it not that I and I don't want anybody to get the wrong impression that I'm making light of it, but sometimes things just happen. You can't prevent this stuff, but you cannot let the greater good go by the wayside just to protect one person. I mean, if it saves 1,000 versus one's going to die versus the opposite way, I mean, which way do you go? And that's kind of, we have to make choices on this up and down the line. And what I'm saying is every time, and this going back and forth, is we need to have, and I agree with you, we need to have honest discussions about it. And we cannot have honest discussions about it if people are going to be either distorting, lying, skirting the truth, the facts, and everything else. Put the facts out there, and then we can debate the case
Right.
of that. How many people died versus how many people were saved. How many people were saved by guns versus how many people that were died were that. And I mean
So why don't the pro gun people do like a poll like that? How many people have been saved by guns?
And it is. I mean, let's take the Texas church scenario. There's no way to put a quantifiable number on
everybody in that church.
Well, not necessarily. You can't say would he have got if the shooter wasn't taken out, would he have got 10 more, 30 more? How many more arms did he have? We can't tell 100% of what was going on that whole deal. But I mean, there's no way to quantify in that situation on the defense. How many lives did it save in that situation?
Right. But don't you think everybody in that church would count as a number? I mean,
well, yeah, you could say potentially.
I mean, I would count everybody
potentially
in there.
200 people or whatever were in the church service that day. Could be the ones that I mean, that could, but I mean, then you could. It's not a number that you can quantify doing that. Like, it is a number you could say how many people died at the hand of guns. I mean, that's a fair. We have the reports, we have the statistics on that, so that's a quantifiable number like that. Now, if you take the statistic like it appears Bloomberg did with the Super Bowl ad, what cost them $6 million or something to do on that, how do we know what it is, we can't say that, but we know it's a vast number. And we can never prove that it's 1,000 to 1 or 10,000 to 1 or 100,000 to 1 versus people that die of gun violence that are saved, because we can never put a quantifiable number. It's just like the Texas deal. How many people would have, I mean, you could debate that till the cows come home. So but we do know it's a significant number of people that were sitting in that Texas church that are sitting around walking alive today that wouldn't have been had Jack Wilson not took him out with that shot. And that's what I'm getting at. That's where we should have the discussion of that in our politics all across the board. Just like the situation with the pensions and everything that's going on all across the state of California and everything else. It's just like the bond deal. We're going to be voting on a $15 billion statewide school bond. As John Coppell pointed out, and even Governor Gavin Newsom, we have a $22 billion surplus. So we could pay cash for every project, or that we could pay cash for every shovel-ready project, and I dare them to put out there that they have that amount of shovel-ready projects ready to go to do $15 billion as they're proclaiming in that.
What do you mean shovel-ready projects?
Shovel-ready means if you have permits, you have everything done, ready to go, you're ready to start. All you need is the money. Shovel ready, permits are done, it's all approved, we can start tomorrow, whatever. $10 million renovation of ABC High School, we have all the permits ready, all we need is $10 million and we can start tomorrow. We got the money, we can roll. That's what a shovel-ready project means. And they do that, but even of that, if they did have that, and they don't, as they do, but even if they did, we could pay for it in cash, save the double, as we talked about, the double or more, probably 15 to 20 billion, depending on interest rates of that, more that you have to pay back over 30 years to, because that goes to all the bond holders, on New York, on Wall Street in New York City that are collecting all that other cash, because you're paying 2.5, 3 times the price ultimately for that $10 million renovations costing you $20, $25, $30 million over the course of 30 years. So This is what I'm saying. Let's have an honest debate about it. Let's have an honest debate about the gas tax.
I thought we were talking about gun control.
Well,
I'm so lost.
that's what I'm saying is you're making the vast majority you're making decisions in the voting booth and in our public policy on not complete or accurate information. And that's where we get into trouble. And that's what, if you want a better society, or if you want everybody to get along,
I do.
quit lying to us.
Yeah, Roy.
Where have I lied to you? I always
You
tell
lie
the
all
truth.
the time.
Yeah, right.
I know.
I mean, I tell you, and if I'm saying something wrong or inaccurate,
Oh, I correct you.
call in. Call in, give your statistics or wherever you're doing it, because I will gladly acknowledge that and correct it.
Facebook doesn't like me right now. Is anybody else having problems with the stream? Write in and let us know if you can.
Yes.
It keeps dropping.
It keeps going off the deal, but no, it's it's one and done on the whole enchilada on this stuff, and that's why it was very
Enchiladas.
it's very disconcerting to me that we keep coming up with all this
Pop.
back and forth on the on the whole stuff, because that's, like I said, we're on the we keep doing this to ourselves, and it's not good. That's what I'm saying. Is
Definitely not.
with all
You're
this
giving
stuff.
Roy too much stuff to talk about.
Well, yeah, it is of that. Next thing up on the today, and they're going on right now, I think, is the first Iowa caucuses for the and it's really a foregone conclusion
What?
on the Democratic side, or I mean on the Republican side, because Trump's going to win it. But the big first election, we're going to get the first results of who the Democrats are going to choose as their Democrat nominee on the for the race in 2020, which is coming up. I put a post up and roll through the IEN Newswire on that. Do you know what a caucus is?
No. It sounds like a fun word, though. So serious. Caucus?
I know where your mind is going.
My mom's watching, Roy. I didn't mean it like that, Mom.
Well, you're the one that opens your trap.
Anyway.
No, it's not an election. It can be. I think I don't know what the number is, but it might be a couple, hundreds, thousands or so. But all across, it might be in somebody's. It might be in some, in a barn, Farmer Ted Jones's barn. It might be at the local high school gym. But everybody in the town or whatever in that area comes in one room. So the first thing they do, okay, say you got a BS Bernie up there, you got Slow Joe rolling the deal, you got Pocahontas and all that, whoever, Mayor Pete, Chang or whatever the other guy is, and whoever's on the deal. So everybody casts a vote on the first one. So if you don't get 15%, I believe, on the first go around, you're out. But they actually it takes like 2 to 3 hours. They actually debate it. Biden and all the candidates will have their teams. They'll give a little speech on it. So after they go through the first round and they kick everybody out, let's just say example, and this is the way I think it's going to come out. We'll see. But I think it's going to come out it's going to be a B&B show, Biden and Bernie.
Susan from Hooper Valley writes in Bernie.
Yes.
And then she said to knock it off. Boy. She did. It's written on there.
You think that's going to work?
Don't piss off Susan from Hooper Valley.
I have a way of pissing everybody off at some point or another, but
Amen.
but no, let's say it comes down to that. So then now the Biden and the Bernie folks go, since everybody else is out, Pocahontas' crew is out, whatever, Mayor Bloomberg, Mayor Pete, Bloomberg's out, all of them, Steyer, they're out. So now it's Biden and Bernie's crew trying to get the others to go on their side, and then they'll have another round of it. Then they'll all make another speeches of that like that. You're getting real good at the hand gestures of that, and then they will have a deal. But it's an interesting process, and I think there's only one or two. Maybe Washington does it. There's only like one or two other states that actually do this, but it's a much different process than going in, you cast your ballot or send it in an absentee ballot, go in, mark your check off, and go home. Nobody knows what you did. It's a public deal, so everybody kind of knows, or which or where a lot of the things, or if you get up and speak or something or that, because a lot of them will just you raise your hand. Some of them do it by ballot, but some of them I've seen that you just raise your hand if you're supporting Joe Biden, and they make a count. Da 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 da. So it's a lot more open process to do it, and it's very interesting. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that whoever wins the Iowa caucuses will, it's been up and down on that. I mean, the last one that really won it, that really took it, to the, but in 2008, the last one that was really, was the big surprise is when Barack Obama won Iowa, and he rode it all the way to the presidency of the United States. But it is actually more of a barometer on the Democratic side of who you have more of an odds on the Democratic side if you win. I think there's been more winners that have won Iowa that went to the presidency. On the Republican side, it's a more deal. But usually between Iowa and then the first primary, which has always been in New Hampshire, which will be next, not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday, usually that thins the field out. You'll get it down to like 2 or 3 on that. But what's really surprising to me is Bernie is really catching fire here lately. I mean, he's been moving up in the polls and doing that, and a lot of people expect him to win Iowa. When a couple of weeks ago they were thinking maybe he was going to get 3rd or 4th in it. He's really coming up in the deal. But as they say on that, and one of the things that I've seen is that was interesting, and I can't remember what it was, but there was a poll that came out here recently within the few days, which the third primary is in South Carolina, which when you start getting into the South, you start getting into the black vote really heavily. And Joe Biden was like owning that. And man, he just lost all his support, or a lot of it. So they're thinking if Bernie wins Iowa and clips New Hampshire, which he's probably got good odds because he's right from a neighboring state in Vermont, and Biden keeps slipping, especially in the black support, Bernie might win South Carolina, and then he might be unstoppable in this Democratic deal.
Unstoppable.
Which will turn in because the hierarchy of the Democratic Party does not want Bernie Sanders.
Susan from Harupa Valley writes in, I'm afraid of Bernie Sanders. Lots of young people like him.
You know what?
Why are you afraid of Bernie Sanders?
That's a good thing, and we're going to pick that up.
Oh, gosh. Mom, come on.
Thank you, Susan from Harupa Valley.
She's been cut off the show. Jesse Blocker.
I really appreciate that question because we're going to talk about that a little bit because there's an interesting.
Can we do it on Tuesday when I'm not here?
There's an interesting dynamic of what's going to come on about that. Where Bernie got his support in 2016 and where Bernie is getting his support in 2020, and it might surprise you of doing that. I think I'm just going to hand the hand gestures off to here, and I'm just going to fold my hands.
No, then it's going to be boring. I like making fun of you. That's what people like to see. That's the only reason why people tune in. No one's even listening to you. I'm just kidding. Susan is. She said, afraid he will win.
Yeah. And he could. I mean, and you're gonna see the Democratic Party from the hierarchy melt down if Bernie starts really doing that. You're gonna see that, and the scenario is coming, and I sure as hell hope it happens. The scenario is the Democratic Party. If Bernie really starts catching fire on this whole deal, guess who they're gonna pull out of the woodwork to try and save the day?
Who?
Those 3 words that are like nails on the chalkboard.
I don't know who.
Hillary Rodham Clinton.
What's her middle name?
I was way off on my
guess.
No, you're such a nerd.
No, that's not her middle name. That's her maiden name. I don't remember what her middle name, but her maiden name is Rodham. She actually comes. The Rodhams were.
Why would they bring her out? I don't get that.
Because they think the way they're thinking now is if Bernie gets a Democratic nomination, they are not only are they going to get slaughtered in the presidential race, it will have a backlash, and it will be like a blowout in the House of Representatives and the Senate. They'll lose the House. They'll lose it by a big margin, and the Republicans will gain a lot of seats in the Senate, and that will really put a crimp in their style.
Totally crimping it.
Of that. So that's going to be that's what they're really afraid of. That Bernie has a strong support of that, but it's an inch. It's like they say, it's an inch deep and a mile wide. He has a constituency out there that's doing that, but he has like a ceiling.
1 minute, guys. 1 minute.
And when you're doing that on the, that is not only is it a losing proposition on the overall presidential race in the Electoral College, again, it has a lot of ramifications for all this other stuff coming up and down the line. Like I say, the House, control of the House, because I can guarantee you, which would have saved us a lot of grief about all this impeachment crap that's going on, and that's going to be over by Wednesday, hopefully, of doing that. But if there was a Republican Congress,
30 seconds.
There wouldn't have been articles of impeachment coming out of the House.
Sean, give him a countdown so he stops talking, please.
You think that would stop me from talking?
Probably not. All right.
As Sean already...
Susan writes in, college kids support him, and Democrats probably won't let him run.
Here we go. 10 seconds.
Cast using your smartphone. Don't miss out on the free KMET smartphone apps. Go to KMET1490am.com and download your free phone app today. KMET banning.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
I just love that absolutely great and fabulous intro music coming in on a Money Monday.
Totally forgot what day it was again. Dang it.
Oh, what is it that you have that you're trying to roll the enchilada through the deal on that?
Stop talking about enchiladas, man. You're making me hungry.
Everybody.
But you know what we did try today finally?
Yeah.
The chicken sandwich from Popeyes. And I'm not going to fight Roy over it. I want to fight him any given chance, but the chicken sandwich, I'm just not going to mess up my nails over it. I'm a little disappointed.
Yes, I do. I now I really don't understand what all the hype was.
It was spicy though. It was good.
It
was good.
It's so. But to get into fistfights and people killing each other and all this stuff, wrecking their cars and waiting in line for hours over this thing.
An hour wait. No way. Maybe 30 minutes, but not an hour.
Not 30 seconds.
Maybe 20.
I mean.
What? Jesse, how long would you wait? I love Popeyes, though. So
Not very long.
Yes.
I still think me and you should fight, though.
Oh,
yeah, but it ain't gonna be over. It ain't gonna be over Popeye's chicken sandwich. I guarantee. I mean, if you want a chicken sandwich that bad, here, knock yourself out. I mean, it isn't the. That is nothing to get upset about. I mean, yeah, it's a decent sandwich. Yeah, if you're hungry or something, and it is good. I mean, it's a good sized sandwich. I mean,
it was.
I don't know how much are they, Jesse. What's it? $5, $4. But what? Yeah, whatever. I mean, yeah. I mean, it is a good sized sandwich. It's fairly filling and stuff. I mean, But I mean, to get
and thanks to our amazing producers for providing.
Yes,
dinner.
Jesse, our producer extraordinaire here in studios, of that brought us in chicken sandwiches today.
Oh, that's not bad.
$2.90. Well, yeah,
$3.99.
$3.90. Well, yeah, for $4.
$2.99 would be better.
It's a good sized sandwich for that. I mean, and it's a good meal and stuff of that. But I mean, it's nothing to get that excited about. I mean. I really now don't understand what all the hoopla was over that thing. I mean, I don't know. I mean, to each his own, I guess. That it just, I see no now I'm really flummoxed of how they, why all the hoopla and all, and especially, I mean, okay, you really like it, you'll wait 30 minutes an hour for it, but I really don't understand all the violence that went on over that.
I think people just wanted to be angry. But to blame a chicken sandwich, I mean, that's just kind of silly. I don't know.
And before we get to the photos on the some of the photos we had over at Mountain Mike's and the Super Bowl party, I wanted, before I forget, because Susan from Harupa Valley
Thanks, Susan from Harupa Valley.
requested this.
She did not request anything.
Yes, she did.
No, she did not. Carry on.
She mentioned that Bernie, that the younger kids and the college kids, which was the case, he had the younger generation, which is kind of weird because he's 78 some years old now, or was 74. the old white guy was getting a lot of the college younger set. But setting that aside, here's where Bernie is getting his support today. The teachers' unions, the and public employee unions in general, but mainly big support from the teachers' unions across the board. He's getting support from those that work at Amazon, Walmart. That crowd is where Bernie is getting his base of support in 2020. Which, I think, because when good old B.S. Byrne came over to Merino Valley and I did my man in the street.
Don't take off my line. But carry on.
Of that. And we had the lady that said she had the college degree, 4 years, and she's working for $12 an hour or 10 hours a week. That would suggest a job like working at Walmart or Amazon or something like that, of that. So you can see, and the crowd was, I mean, there were young people in the crowd, but it was probably like the crowd that I saw was a mix of older people and younger people in there. It wasn't exclusively, at least here in Merino Valley, it wasn't exclusively or overwhelming majority of younger people in that, because I think I interviewed 4 people and 2 of them were older on the side and 2 of them were, I'd say were in their 50s, 60s range, and the other 2 were like probably in their 20s, maybe early 30s. And that was about the mix of the crowd, and that's kind of why I picked it, or the ones that would submit to the interviews. That's why I kind of picked them out. So, I mean, it was kind of like the overall makeup of the crowd I seen. So I wasn't trying to bias or slant it one way or the other, showing what it was doing that. I saw the little look over there.
What? I had something in my eye. Like a gnat got in there.
Of that. But no, it was. But it's really interesting that his support, he's not getting as strong a support. Maybe he will after the crowd thins in, because a lot of his supporters went to Pocahontas, and I think Mayor Pete has picked up a lot of the younger college crowd support on that. But he might get it back once the field thins out. But that's really where the base of his support is public employee unions and those that work at Amazon, Walmart. That is where he's pulling a very major support part of his support in 2020. So something to look at, and that's what political geeks look at a lot of times. How I will admit to that, of doing that, of working at of the stuff. But no, it's really interesting dynamic to see, like, and just like I pointed out before when we were doing our live cast, of Biden had he had almost a lock on the black vote, and man, he's losing that. Like in the past 2 or 3 weeks, he's been losing that. So the Democratic nomination's wide open. We're finally going to get at least some results, or gauge where they're at after tonight, after the Iowa caucuses, which are going on right now for that. So that's another thing. Another revelation that came up today, and then we'll hit the pictures, is Rush Limbaugh, the the big kahuna of all talk radio deals, host of that. I don't know what he did. Syndicated on 500 stations, heard by 20 million listeners a week or so. I mean, like the Big Kahuna came out today and said he's got advanced lung cancer, and he's going to be off the air for about 3 or 4 days, but he might be back later in the week on that. But he just came out with an announcement of that today.
So horrible.
He went to the doctor, and he's been having, I mean, he was like sniffling, feeling bad, yada, yada, yada. Went to the doctor, I think, Friday or over the weekend, and they said, we got some bad news for you, and he announced it today. So, Rush, is that, and I would tell you this, he was on, I used to, because he was on, I think, during the day on KPFK, the Sacramento station, 1530, way back, and he used to co-host a little bit at night or fill in, so I was kind of familiar with him. But I actually listened to Rush in 1989 because one of the stations out here locally, when he first went syndicated, carried his show. So I've been listening to Rush on and off since I think 1989, or when he started being syndicated of that. And he has one heck of a style. I got of doing that, and he's got a very entertaining show with all the voices and stuff. And one thing that he stopped doing that was kind of funny, or not necessarily funny, but was very attention getting, was his caller abortions that he used to do to kind of illustrate that. I mean, he had like a blender sound going with like some screaming going on in that, and he finally, after a while, he because it was creating so much controversy and stuff, I think he quit using that little particular sound effect on that. But man, you can't beat success, and Rush has been probably if not the top radio talk show host of all time. He's got to be in the top 3, and so we wish Rush well on whatever's coming down the pike on that, and I hope he gets a recovery, or they can do that, or fix him up or stuff, because man, he's an iconic figure in this business.
He is. What? Don't throw it at me like that. That is sad, though. I hope he pulls through.
Yes.
Only taking 4 days off, though. That's crazy. Just take more time off than that. But that's just me.
Well, you never know. I mean, the show must go on. No, it's kind of therapeutic. I think
it is. No, really, it definitely is. But
therapeutic to get, or I think it puts even when you're in a situation like that, the quicker you can get back to normal activities.
Yeah.
If nothing else, it kind of gets your mind off of it, or takes your mind, or gets your spirits back up, or stuff. That you're not, so you're just not thinking that all the time, or worrying about it. I do think it's good that he does. I mean, just in general, for that, it's kind of like they say, if you fall off the horse, get back up on it. But from a lot of standpoints, I think even just from the mental aspect of it, that you just that you go down on that you get back up on the horse, or get back to broadcasting, or get back to your normal activities on that. I'm going to unplug that darn fan.
What are you unplugging?
Unplugging the fan because it's blowing cold air on my feet. But
we wouldn't want that.
Yeah, but in the whole deal. So go ahead. Oh well, Jesse's on the phone right now, but we said we were going to get to the pictures, or we were going to rerun the pictures on Mountain Mike for all the folks that didn't get it, or all that get it when we first tuned in and done it. What did I do now?
I don't know. I'm confused.
You're always confused. Run the pictures again a little bit, and then we have our very special guest.
We do. I'm so excited for AJ.
On that. So roll the pictures through there.
And again, we want to give another shout out to Gil for being so amazing,
yes,
and co-hosting with us for yesterday's amazing.
There we go. There's
great turnout.
Yes, it was
at Mountain Mike's.
Full house. Everybody had a great time.
A lot of fun. This lady right here, she volunteered to wear the hat and get stuff thrown at her face, basically.
Yes.
I don't know how many times she got hit.
Yeah, some of the kids were really pitching it at her pretty hard. She had to duck a few times.
Sport.
Yes,
she really was. I got a really cute picture of her with another kid.
There you go. Yeah. Keep rolling them. There's
that photo. I love that photo.
That's a great photo. Yeah,
she was a great sport.
Yeah,
she really was.
She kneeled down.
And we had
on
some
the-
great bingo winners.
and all that. Yeah,
I think
gave
we had
out
like
a lot of
4
prizes.
bingo
on,
winners.
Yes, gave out a lot of prizes on gift certificates, free pizzas, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For all the folks
It was
that
a
showed
lot of
up on
fun.
there. It was a lot of fun on that. So without
Great
further
turnout,
ado,
too.
do you want to do the intro? Or do you want
You
me?
can. Because you're great at that kind of stuff.
We'll see, because I didn't have any notes made up on this, but we have a very special guest coming on the line on that. He's a singer, songwriter, musician, all-around good guy, just starting out. It looks like he's got a really promising future on that.
He does.
And he's got some...
If he doesn't, I'm going to be pissed.
he's got... well, you do that. He's got some a new release coming out, too. One thing I do, and this stands out in my head, he played in it for a bluegrass group on one of his journeys coming up through the ranks on that. And as most of you know that listen to this show or listen to me, my number one favorite brand of music is bluegrass. And my favorite performer of all time is the father of bluegrass, Bill Monroe, who plays the meanest mandolin that you would ever hear. And I want to know, have you ever played the mandolin like Bill Monroe?
Ooh.
AJ, this is AJ Smith, the our guest coming up on that. Just so you know who we're talking to. But AJ, have you ever played that style of, I call it rockabilly, rock and roll, hard-nosed bluegrass music on the mandolin?
Yeah, man. I mean, hey, I don't think I could, and nobody could ever say that they've played like Bill Monroe. You know, I mean, oh my gosh. But yeah, I mean, I've studied it. I studied as in learning on the road kind of thing. But yeah, the mandolin player in our band always had me listening to Bill Monroe, and then for fiddle and stuff like that. I mean, and then the banjo player too always had. They made a huge playlist of like Alvin Krauss or Earl Scruggs.
Right.
I mean, Stanley Brothers, you name it.
Yes.
But yeah, Bill Monroe was probably the most played guy on our. I guess it wasn't a playlist back then. It was they burned me CDs so that I could listen and really start. I was only 10 years old at the time, but so I could start to be exposed to bluegrass music. And yeah, man, I love Bill Monroe.
Yeah, and Flatt and Scruggs got their start with Bill Monroe's band, and I mean, I'm sure you know the story of Earl Scruggs. I mean, he might not have invented the three-picking style, but there's the old saying, well, if you're not doing it right, that's not how Earl would have done it.
Yeah, exactly.
But go ahead, and I mean, I want to highlight, because I was looking at your bio, and it looks like you played
He's done amazing things.
Yeah, you played about every instrument it looks like on that's invented out. I mean, you don't just play one instrument. I mean, you must be like locked in a room 24/7, 365 playing instruments to learn how to play that many. But go explain to how many what all the stuff that you actually that you play in musical instruments.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, the first instrument that I ever played, was piano. And my godmother was a piano teacher. She lived 2 doors down from us. Kind of funny story there is I took the family dog. My mom was in the shower, and I snuck out of the house with the family dog to go and listen to piano lessons. And after I did that a couple times, I think the cops had to be called like once or twice. Finally, my mom and dad were like, you know what, we better just start taking him there so he doesn't keep going there on his own. I was only 3 years old at the time, and so then I started piano lessons. And then a few years later, they took me to a Yanni concert, actually. And I was like 6 years old at the Yanni concert. And the violinist that he had with him that night, that was the solo violinist, oh my gosh, this is the most beautiful sound I've ever heard in my life of 6 years. And I was like, Mom, I gotta learn how to play the violin. So, she asked my godmother, who's, because she's a music teacher, hey, do you know violin teachers? How can I find a violin teacher? They found one. And then next thing you know, I'm in a bluegrass band, fiddling. And from there, learning how to play the mandolin, because the same tuning, but, different style. And then I always stood next to the banjo player, because the fiddle and the banjo are the loudest instruments in the band, right? And like bluegrass style, it's kind of you're all gathered around one mic, and you like step forward when you need to take a solo, and you like step back, like acoustic wise. at least with the 5 places that we were doing. So I was watching how he played the banjo while simultaneously trying to learn guitar so that I could be in the band with the cool kids in school. And so now I play guitar like a banjo player, man. I have like my own 3-finger style of playing the guitar. It's weird. Or I actually do a 4-finger style of playing the guitar now, like finger picking.
Right.
And then picked up the banjo too. And I mean, if it has strings, I've probably played it. and yeah, and then drums. I mean, you just pick things up along the way, and I love music so much that I could be in a room for 24 hours straight and it's like my own Las Vegas is my recording studio. I would have no idea what time it is.
That's what.
Like, how long have I been here?
Yeah, there you go. That was my point. Is to learn how. I mean, it's difficult enough to learn how to play one instrument, and even difficult more to learn how to play one instrument well. To play that many,
I know,
and
it's amazing.
But you don't.
You should hear him play, though.
We will hear in a second, but and have the video ready, Jesse, on that. But AJ, you don't realize how many favors you're doing.
I know.
For me, because when Stephanie
He's
first
geeking out right now, and to get him to geek out about music, I mean, you're killing it, dude.
When Stephanie mentioned, this guy, and I'm looking at her, I said, oh, does he play the fiddle? And she says, no, he plays the violin. And you're using the word fiddle all the way you're going through that. That's why those of you watching on us on the video on YouTube and Facebook Live, that was why the big smile on my face while AJ was describing his fiddle
Roy.
playing.
Thanks, AJ. Thanks. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, to credit, I would say that I play the fiddle and the violin. Because same instrument, but completely different styles. So, yeah.
Which is even more, I mean, that's probably one of the most difficult instruments to learn how to play, or even just to learn how to even play it badly, much less play it good, but even more to play both genres of that, because, it's a very different style between playing the violin and playing the fiddle, which is the same instrument, but a totally different technique.
Oh, yeah. And, I think that the way that I play now, too, because I've been singing and playing at the same time recently, which I don't think I would have ever figured out how to do that if I hadn't fiddled in a bluegrass band. Learning violin, classical violin, nobody would ever imagine, hey, you should try to sing and play that. But nobody thought of the violin as that kind of instrument really ever. It's not something that you sing and play at the same time, which is why I actually switched over to guitar, and I was trying to learn some of these other instruments that I could sing too. I'm super grateful for getting that exposure early on and being able to learn and have, my mentors that taught me bluegrass and folk and rock and all that kind of stuff, because it kind of made me who I am as a musician and creator today.
It's absolutely great. You got the video clip.
And he plays his music with such passion. I've been following AJ for maybe a couple years now and watching him grow. It's been so much fun, AJ, and I'm so proud of you. I'm like your biggest fan. I love your music, and you're just killing it. You have so much passion behind your music.
So we got a little clip up here ready to go of AJ showing his talents, and that's when you got her ready to go. Let her roll, Jesse, as we do that. Here we go.
Not gonna write you a sad song. You brought me down for too long. You think I'm hurting, baby, you're wrong. No, I don't want you back. Don't want you back. Took me a minute, now I'm at my best. Not overthinking all your stupid texts. Life's been sweeter ever since you left. If you don't believe me, then why you so obsessed? Oh,
All right, now you got to go to Spotify and download him and check out the rest of the song. I'm not giving you any more.
That's it. But it's got kind of a pop, funky blues kind of reaction. Just that little 30-second clip I heard of it. It's kind of a unique style that you've got there that you put that little clip together with.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I definitely would say that my influences are super, super varied. You know, I think my melodic sensibilities are a little bit more in that pop world, but I think that's also because, I mean, weirdly going back to, I know that this seems as though it's the furthest thing from bluegrass as possible, but at the same time, like bluegrass music, if you break it down to the melody and the lyric, it's really great things said very simply and sang in a way that you can remember it and sing along with. And I took those principles and I applied it towards the pop music that I was writing, and you know, that's where it is. And you know, I've listened to all kinds of music growing up, and now my sound is, you know, I think pretty unique, but very inspired by a lot of different styles that maybe you wouldn't ever expect.
I love it.
It is. It's a great yes. So, what's your favorite Bill Monroe song?
Oh man, gosh, it's like making me pick a favorite kid.
Give him some to choose from.
Well, there's lots. I'll tell you the one, and I think it blends all the styles of that. It's got to be Uncle Pen.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
I mean, I loved playing Jerusalem Ridge.
Yeah, that's another great one.
Which probably is kind of like, that's the furthest thing from,
it is.
from my songwriting now.
Yeah.
But, you know, like that's just, well, that was also one where we would get faster and faster and faster and faster and faster.
Yes.
And so, of course, I just had a blast playing that one. I mean, I don't know. There's just so many, man.
Well, everything he did, I mean, was absolutely great on that. But I mean, like you say, I think for the catchy tune and the style of it, I mean, you know, Uncle Pen solidifies it to me for Bill Monroe. We got about 30 seconds left. Tell everybody where you're at. If you want to plug anything, you got it. Let her rip.
Yeah, absolutely. Check me out. You can check out my tour dates that I have coming up, ajsmithmusic.com. I'm actually flying up to Green Bay and doing a bunch of shows up in that part of the country pretty soon, which is super exciting, and then going to North Dakota, South Dakota. I'm based in New York, but hopefully I can see you somewhere. Go and check out my music online, ajsmithmusic.com/sad songs. You can listen to Sad Song. We're over 38,000 streams after only being out for a week on Spotify alone, 100,000 on SoundCloud, and a bunch of others. So keep spreading the word, and I'm all about good music, good vibes, and good conversations. So follow me on the socials and stay in touch.
You got it.
Awesome.
And,
thank you, AJ.
You got it. Yeah, and just remember us when you hit the big
come to
time
California.
On that. Yeah, come to California. We'll definitely check you out on the show at that, because, great guest. You're a great guest, good sport about all that stuff.
Great
and,
music.
I think you're going to go a long way knowing all you.
Yes.
Knowing just talking to you and your understanding and your passion and love for music really comes out on that. So we wish you a lot of success. Thanks for being on.
Thanks, AJ.
Yeah, thank you so much. Likewise to both of you. I mean, it's really special getting on with people as passionate about music as you all. So thank you so much.
You got it. Thanks a lot. So that was a fun show today.
I know. AJ made it the best. I mean,
he was good.
You're all right, but I'm just kidding. It was a lot of fun.
Bet you didn't think I knew a lot of that stuff right off the top of my
Roy,
head.
you know everything. I mean, what don't you know? What? I don't know.
How could you
Thanks
do that?
again, AJ, for coming on. Thanks again,
Got
Gil, for Mountain Mikes and the Super Bowl. Go Chiefs! Hot all you 49ers! And as we always say,
we're gone.
we're gone.